I get the videos uploaded into a format that can be easily added to Google Drive. Okay, Nick, so we did order a couple of kits for Southwest. This is what's really hard. You guys have all of the kits from Fair and McClellan. So I really, really hope that those are somewhere that they wrote on the box. This is WRS or this is just words. That's my hope. Yeah, let me put the code in the chat. Oh, that's the problem when you're presenting. You can't highlight anything. This is the link to the Schoology instructions for how to join a group. I don't know if that's going to actually show up in the chat or if you have to log in, but I do have that in there. So here we go. Hold on. So just so you guys know, when you have this many people on a Zoom and you try to do anything, if anybody joins, you have to hit admit before you can like put something in the chat, or so it takes me just a minute because it kind of pops up and says, you got to do this right now. Okay, so we're at 77. Let's give it till 8:35.
You want to do the attendance?
Do you know how to do, do you know how to do it?
You just go to that Google slide I made you and start it.
Oh, it's on the slide?
Yes.
Can't hear her.
Oh, you can't hear me? Is it big? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
I can hear you.
What's going on?
Margie, is your computer, well, she can't hear me, so maybe it takes it a second. There's a lot of people on.
All the way up.
Am I really quiet or?
You are loud and clear.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
What do I
Okay.
can't hear her?
This is why it's always just, I love y'all. We just got to be a little patient because there's a lot of people on.
I wonder.
And I can't even like, can somebody send Margie Busby just in the chat to turn her volume?
I got it.
Oh, sweet. Okay, perfect.
I got it. Thanks.
Thank you. I was trying to chat to you, but every time somebody would
That's okay. I
join
got
the
it.
room, it would pop over my chat and then I'd have to start all over. So Heather Bishop is our other dyslexia specialist, and she is helping me by monitoring that chat. So it's hard to kind of see everybody and teach and monitor the chat, but I did, for everybody who's joining now, I did put the directions here to join a group in Schoology. It's a group, not a course. And if you want to join our reading intervention support group, you can add this group in Schoology. And we're going to get started in a couple of, we're at 89. We're pretty good. Okay, where can I hear it echo? Now I can hear an echo of me talking. Okay, I can't find it, Heather. I'm just gonna save the chat and go back and do it. If you, I know, I just can't find it, and then that little doorbell keeps ringing, which is like, stressful. Yeah, so guys, please, please, please make sure that you put your name and your work location, like your full name, because some people, when they're signed in, it says something different than their actual name, or it says iPhone. So in the chat, make sure you put your real name, first and last name, and your work location so we can go back and take attendance. Because sometimes I'll look at participants and it'll say iPhone or Floyd, and I don't know who that is. Okay, I'm gonna give it like 2 more minutes because the doorbell is ringing every second. I don't know how to turn that off. We'll start at 8:36. And there's 55 things in the chat. It's getting crazy. Okay, so we only have an hour. So I am going to go ahead and get started. And I wanted to make this presentation a little more interactive, but because we have over 100 people, I think that might be a little chaotic. So I went ahead and recorded myself doing some of the things I'm going to show you so you can watch videos, because have you guys ever known how to do something on Google or on Schoology, and then when you are presenting or talking and trying to show somebody, you can't find the right button? Well, I didn't want that to happen to me today in front of all of you. So I figured it all out right then and there, and then added a video of me doing it so that I wouldn't make a mistake. So that way, we don't waste any time in our short hour. And I know you guys are probably overwhelmed with the amount of things that you are learning, and with school starting soon, with everything that is happening. So I'm going to go ahead and start this presentation. So this session, I know that there's a lot of people whose names I didn't recognize on the roster, so I really hope that this is something that you need. I'm doing 2 sessions. This one is kind of how to take your physical lesson that you would do for Wilson and how to convert it to a Google Slides presentation and make it a little more interactive. This other session that I'm offering today and tomorrow, and we're recording, is how to go deeper with some of those interactive tools. Yeah, it's totally fine to record. I'm recording it too, and I'm going to post it in that group. So this one is just because we've only got an hour. This is just an overview of how to take your physical lesson and how to convert it to a virtual format. And then the other session that I'm doing is going to go deeper with things like Pear Deck and Flipgrid and Schoology. And I will say, I said I was going to go deeper with Teams. And when I was learning Flipgrid and Pear Deck and Nearpod and Schoology, Teams kind of threw me in a tailspin of overwhelmed, too many tools to learn that are new. And so I say use what you know right now. And I'm going to learn that later because I was very confused. Participants can mute you, and I know we don't want that for children because that would be crazy. So we are going to talk today about how to make this virtual. So the goals for our training today. My goal for you is that you will be able to utilize a lesson plan to create a digital lesson in Google Slides, and that you will be able to learn how to make a copy of a previously made Google Slides presentation and customize it for your needs, and that the student will be able to use resources from the Google Drive and Wilson's website to make lessons virtually friendly. So I've said this in a couple of other trainings, but you only need to go as far virtual friendly as you feel comfortable. Remember, these applications are just video conferencing software. So you can still teach your lesson the way that you taught it before by holding things up to the camera. If that's what you're comfortable with right now, that is fine with me. In fact, that's what Wilson recommended. But I just feel like this is making it a little more interactive, and it helps us share our lessons. So, like I said earlier, for more information on how to use digital tools like Pear Deck and Schoology, Flipgrid, Kami, there is another session down here. It's 13417. And I can also send the link to this PowerPoint in the chat as well at the end. So don't stress about signing up right now. Okay, how are we going to make this transition easier? Because whether we are blended, well, we're all blended, right? Or virtual, at some point, I personally believe that we will be virtual. And we were caught completely off guard in the spring, and that made it harder. So here's some tips. Use what you know. Using technology is hard, guys. You cannot learn it overnight, and there's nothing already made for us because kids with characteristics of dyslexia need more hands-on activities. And so we've kind of had to make everything that we're using, and it takes time and practice. So use what you already know about teaching first and don't get overwhelmed with everything. I would say start small. So for example, I am using Zoom today because I feel like I really get Zoom now. And when I tried to add Teams on top of everything else, I couldn't make it work. So I say that's okay. Start small, add one thing at a time. Keep it simple. The kids are, I know that a lot of times kids are better with technology, but still, they are not going to know how to use all of these tools right away either. And so if you're not comfortable or confident with some glitzy new tool, don't add it yet. Use what you've already got. And then join the reading intervention support group, because we have got to work together to get through this. This is hard. And so we can kind of be a support group and share all of the things that we have created and things that worked and didn't work. And this might be a really great opportunity for better collaboration. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about how to use your lesson plan. I'm using a Wilson lesson plan, but a Just Words lesson plan would also be pertinent here. And I also think some Foundations lesson plans. So when teaching reading intervention through video conferencing, you can choose to take your physical lesson and physical materials and convert them to virtual ones. And this can help your lessons be more engaging and interactive. And it has helped me be a better teacher because I can put cues that are not included on the plan so that I remember to say everything, and it helps us learn the procedures as we go. So how do we get started? So what we're gonna do is we are gonna take a lesson plan from sub-step 3.2. And what I did was record videos of me taking that physical lesson plan and converting it to a Google Slides presentation. So if you haven't gotten that far in Wilson yet, don't get overwhelmed because there are some new procedures. Just focus on how to take what you have on your plan and convert that into a Google Slides presentation. Also, I have the link to the live binder here, and I will share that later. And please remember, when I share things from the live binder and the Google Drive, those are my files in my personal Google Drive. And so I'm going to show you how to make a copy so that you can then save them to your Google Drive and not edit the master files that we're sharing with everyone. So you might click on it and it will say, this is view only. Well, that's good because then you can't edit the master file. That just means you have to make a copy, and I'm going to walk you through that. So let's start with part one, using the live binder and Google Drive folder and slides to start your presentation. So like I said, I recorded this so that I don't make a lot of mistakes because sometimes I can't find the button that does that thing right then and there. So we are going to start by watching some short videos of me teaching you how to access those things. And for some reason, it went to the next slide. So, and I'm going to make sure you can hear it. Oh, hold on. And this is why I recorded the videos. So give me just 1 second. I think I'm gonna have to take that percent mode. Why can't I hear it?
Go down the bottom and change this.
I don't know. I checked it yesterday. It's fine. Okay, hold on. Sorry. Oh, it's muted. That's why. I can't see it because my little toolbar is in the bottom. Okay, sorry. Here we go. That's loud.
I don't hear anything.
No, and this is why I tried to record it. This is, I have to share on Zoom. I have to share my computer sound. So give me just a second. I'm sorry, guys. I thought this would save time and I wouldn't have issues. So I go to video settings and then I go to audio and this is exactly what I was trying to avoid.
Ms. Carpenter, you could just walk us through it verbally while the video is going so we can see what you were thinking at the time.
I could, but I found it. It's share computer sound. It's under more. Why is it under more and not under video? Okay, here we go. Sorry. But thank you, Kimber. That was
Okay.
Can we hear it?
We are going to first start by looking at our lesson plan. I'm going to show you in the drive where you can find all of the lesson plans that we've done. So I've put the link to my Live Binder folder in our reading intervention support group. And the Live Binder has a lot of stuff in it. So what you're probably going to want is the folder labeled Virtual Learning Support. I think I might put like a number 1 in front of that because that's what everybody's going to want. So there's stuff for foundations, just words, and WRS. So if I go to WRS Virtual Support, we made this document, and I would definitely make a copy of this for yourself and save it. Actually, I would save the link because if we add to it, that way you'll have it and it's got everything in one place. So if you need to learn how to make a copy, all of the ways that you need to start out are right here under tips. It shows you how to make a copy of the original, how to use a screenshot, and how to share it. So here we go. So we have here all of the lessons that we built in the spring, and I continued to add to it this summer. And I've got them color coded. So,
oh, sorry, I hit a button.
Here is the sub-step. This tells you if it's an introduction, an accuracy, or a fluency lesson. Here is a link to the lesson plan that we used to make the Google presentation. Here are the names of the amazing teachers who volunteered to help. They're amazing. And then I also have resources that you might need. So we sent kids home in March without materials because we didn't realize we would be out so long. So I made copies of things that we aren't necessarily supposed to make copies of. So please do not share this with anyone who is not in Little Rock School District, because this is what we've purchased. We own these things and I needed a way to get them to you digitally. So everything that you might need for step 2, for example, I've got Quizlet. I have all of the lesson plans in a folder. I have the dictation book pages, the manual pages, a blank Google or a kind of blank Google Slides presentation you can use to start with. And then I've got the student notebook, the dictation page, magnet tiles, workbooks, which were actually added to Wilson's website for some independent practice. And then I've also got the end of step assessment and my step progress and the word list chart here. So I've tried to make this kind of your one-stop shop for lessons. So we are going to be working in 3.2. Our lesson plan today is 3.2. So what I would recommend for you to begin is to find another 3.2 plan that's already been made and make a copy of it for yourself. So please, please, please remember to make a copy. I have tried to make all of these view only, but sometimes I accidentally share an edit link when I don't realize it, and then the original lesson is modified. So please don't forget to make a copy. I don't know how many times I've forgotten to make a copy and accidentally written over a lesson that I had already done, so I don't have it saved. So you're going to go to File, Make a Copy, Entire Presentation, and then this will put it in your Google Drive. So I'm going to click OK, and then this would be saved in my drive. It's already in my drive, so you can't see that part, but the other thing I need to do is I need to change the name, and I forget to do this sometimes too, so make sure you change the name. So this is going to be my third lesson in 3.2. I had built a little scaffold in. So let's take a look at our lesson plan here. And I recommend, if possible, if you have another screen or if you can print this off and have it in front of you, it makes it a lot easier. So you don't have to have two windows open and they're kind of smooshed. I'm going to close the old one because I don't want to write over that. This is lesson 3. This is the right one. So the first thing I want to do is link my lesson plan in. So just in case I can't remember which words I wanted to dictate, I'm going to go to these dots and I'm going to click Share. Then I'm going to click Copy Link, and I want it for you guys to be anyone on the internet can view. So Copy Link. And then I'm just going to right click and click Link. I'm going to delete the old lesson plan that was for lesson 2, and I'm going to paste in my new plan. So now I can always double check my dictation words and everything in this lesson. It's all in one place. So the first thing you're going to do is Kilpatrick warm up. I just usually have these in a starting place here, so that if I need to do a scaffold for a student when I'm doing Kilpatrick, so say I say lost, change the first sound in lost to k. If my student can't automatically tell me it's cost, I'm going to say, okay, let's tap. I'm going to have them tap, but I'm going to say, look, listen, lost, ooh, ah, s, t. I'm going to take the ooh and make it a k.
Oops, sorry.
Let's touch and say, k, ah, s, t. What's the new word? Cost. And I'm going to give them that scaffold until they get to where they need. So you don't have to do anything different with that slide unless you want to add a different color to it. So first up is our quick drill. And I like to just put a picture up there. But I have this is a shape that was entered in here, but it's already done for you. So you don't have to, redo it. But I always do all the vowels, so they're always in there for me already, so I never have to change the vowels. I know I'm going to do all the vowels every time. But my consonants are supposed to be on yellowish. That doesn't even look yellow to me, so I'm going to go here and change the color. So I'm going to look at my lesson plan and see, it's better if you have a printed copy. I need to do Y, G, J, Q, U, S, H, and W. So I'm just going to go down in order. It's easier for me. Y. In fact, I'm just going to copy this because I like the color better. I can do right click and click copy. I don't know why. And I clicked Control V to paste. I'm going to get rid of that one. I'm going to do G, J, Q, U, G. And I'm just going to continue doing that for the rest of the consonants. Then I'm going to do that with the welded sounds that I have on my lesson plan. If for some reason it's not big enough, you can just extend it. So if you have, for some reason it does this, all you have to do is increase the size of your slide. So that's an easy way for your students to see it for the quick drill.
Okay, So I know that was probably a little overwhelming and I went really fast, but we only have an hour. And so you can always go back and watch that later. And Heather's monitoring the chat for me. So let's look at part 2, how to build words in Google Slides.
So now that I'm done with the quick drill, I can go down here and add the words that I'm going to be using. And this can be a little bit tricky depending on which slides are already in here. So my first word is robins, like the bird. So I can just go in here and I can edit what I have. This is not going to be green because O is just a vowel. So I'm going to make it O. And then I'm going to change the color to that pinkish salmon color, which is kind of hard to find. Just make it, I'm going to make it really pink. Maybe that will help. I'm going to change this to a B. And then I'm going to need another vowel. So I'm just going to right click and click copy and click paste. I'm going to move it. I don't love the color here. And then I need another letter. So I'm going to copy another consonant. I already had the S in there, so I don't have to worry about that. And I can make it a little bit smaller if it is taking up too much room. You can also always decrease your font size by highlighting it and going up here. You can make it bigger or smaller. You can click it. You can just make it way smaller and type in a different size. But I can still fit that word. So that is how you can edit this to fit your needs. These are review words, so the student shouldn't need to mark them or tap them. So we're going to talk about that next. And then you're just going to go in and edit these to match your other words, the other 2 review words that you have. So one thing I want to point out that has helped me a little bit, typically your students will be working on review words that are trouble spots for them. So if your group has trouble with 3-letter blends or welded sounds, a lot of times your 3 review words will have those concepts built into them. And so one thing I try to do to help with my planning time and save time is to build similar words on the slides, because it's not just focusing on that skill, but it's also making my life a little bit easier. So this word, before I edited it, it was stand. And I wanted to turn it now into strands because he struggles with 3-letter blends. So all I have to do is only add 2 little concepts here, which is saving me time so I don't have to redo every single slide all the way through. So you can look at your last lesson plan and say, what can I use that I've already got on there? And I'm just going to copy my suffix from this word because it is easier than making a new box. And that's kind of big because I reduced the size of that. And now I have strands, which was my second word. So that can save you some time to help you make similar words. So one of the concepts in 3.2 is
So I skipped ahead a little bit, and I know this is going fast, but I wanted to get it all in. So I know you can't see the lesson plan. I thought I had it pulled up, but I'm just taking those words straight from the plan that I had made for this student. So let's continue. The difference between adding a prefix to a standalone word and having a prefix in a complex base word like disrupt. And so I'm going to want to review that concept with them. I can just leave these 2 slides in here and I've typed up word for word what's in your manual. So you could just leave those in and review it, or you could find a slide that might kind of summarize what you were trying to say. Like this one looks like a good one to start with, and we could duplicate it. I can just hold it and drag it up here and change this to like, let's review. And I can change what it says in here to talk about the difference between a standalone word and a prefix and a complex
word and a prefix. So to do that, I'm going to need to delete these words and change them and change the colors up here. And I will put that in as just a quick reminder for the student about what we talked about last time. So I went ahead and added a new slide just to review that concept. And then in the previous lesson, we had to enter all of these word elements into our notebook. Well, we are not doing that this time. So I'm just going to go in and I'm going to delete that part. The second thing that we covered in this lesson was a new syllable division rule. And so I'm going to find that new rule, which is down here. I'm going to take this entire slide and copy it. And I'm also going to put it at the top to say we're going to review this concept as well. And then I circled this. It doesn't need to be circled anymore because it's not new. So here are the 3 syllable rules that Wilson teaches in 3.1 and 3.2 that we will be practicing with today. So the next step is to just do exactly what I would do if I had the student in class, but put those cards up on the Google slide. So if I look back at my lesson plan, my first word is Midland. And so I'm going to take the word that I had before, which was mid-chest, and turn it into a Google slide, just like if I had those cards in front of me. The other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put those questions that are in your manual that they say to ask when students are reading, and I'm just going to go ahead and type them up for me up here. So the questions that we're supposed to ask in 3.2. Let's make it tiny, but you'll be able to see it. What is the base word? Is this a complex base word? How do you know? And it tells you in the manual, the base word has a prefix and a Latin base. And then you can ask some other questions. You can kind of spread them out. They also have what part of the complex word is a prefix, what part is a Latin base, is there a suffix added? And so you can weave those questions in to help your students and kind of change them up a little bit. And those questions can be found in your manual for the 3.2 lesson, and they're in the side of the page. So once I've created my first slide, I am going to just go in and add all of the other words on my lesson plan by copying and pasting or adjusting the slides that are already on here. So I am going to do that, and then we will talk about how to make it more interactive.
Okay. So like I said, there's a lot of questions in the chat. Depending on which school you are in, principals told me how many people they were training for each program, and we used the inventory from last year and from asking teachers what they had. Some people retired and moved schools, and then I ordered based on the number the principals gave me. I do realize that those numbers were not always up to date, and so most of the materials are already at the elementary schools. If you needed a new teacher's kit or student materials, I'm not sure when they're going to be at middle and high, but I do know that I've had to order some things like last week because principals told me that there were new people. So I'm sorry if you were recently hired and I didn't know that you would be there. We are going to get you that stuff as soon as possible. If a teacher moved to another building, but they were continuing with Wilson or Just Words, they were allowed to take their materials because it takes a lot of work to organize them. But if they retired, I do have a Google form that I have that tells you exactly where they are in the building, except for Southwest, Mr. Finley, because that was all packed up from Fair and McClellan. So hopefully we can find all of those materials. We did order a couple of kits. So let's go to the next part of our presentation because we've only got about 30 minutes left.
So I am going to show you guys stuff about Pear Deck, but I wanted to show you how you can just add it quick because this is a way students can scoop and mark at home. And I think Pear Deck is great for the reading part, which is just block 1. So you're going to go to add-ons and you have to add it like I showed you with Cami, and I've added Pear Deck. So I'm going to click open Pear Deck add-on. And it's going to say, ask students a question on this slide. To do scooping or marking, I'm just going to click draw. And then now this is a Pear Deck slide that students can draw on and show you their screen. And so we will get into that at the next presentation, but I just wanted to show you, I'm going to go ahead and make all my words for the teaching concepts for reading have this draw slide in case my student needs to scoop. So for part 3, word cards, you are going to have your review words, which are your rainbow fat stack. And those are words that your student needs to work on. I try to have several in there that he needs to work on, and I don't change those very often until he's really mastered them, and it's just good practice. So you can occasionally just click on this and change some of those words, but these are all review until we get to here. So actually, I think it's here. So these words are all 3.2 words, which are our current words. And I haven't typed in what step they are on the slide the way the cards are. You can do that if you want. The only time I've done that a few times is because I want him to know it's a nonsense word, so I might type that it's an N word, but don't stress about doing that. The other thing is, if once a slide has that Pear Deck on it, you can just duplicate it, and the next slide will have that on there, and you could just change the word to another funny nonsense word. So those are some easy ways to do word cards. Then you've got your high frequency words. I just have a couple in there that he struggles with. And then I have all of the ones from the step that I'm in. So these are review, and I just mix them all together. And then I've got the regular ones. And then for this lesson plan, we are going to be doing a vocabulary word, not a high frequency word. And so this is where students will flip to the tabs in their notebook and enter in the word splendid. And so I'm just going to take my last card, which was mascot, and I'm going to provide the definition and maybe a little picture in here to change it, so he can write that down. I know sometimes we like to have our students generate the sentence, but just to save time, I think it's easier for me to kind of ask him if he thinks he knows what that means, and then I can have the definition in there in a sentence that he can easily put in his notebook under the S tab for splendid. And this word is going to be in our story today, and so I thought it would be good to practice with this vocabulary word and kill 2 birds with 1 stone. So I'm just going to change that definition and put a little picture in there. Okay. I'm glad I recorded these because it goes so much more smoothly whenever I don't have to find all the right buttons. Okay, so word list charting. In the other session, we're going to get into how to submit a Schoology assignment via audio or video and Flipgrid, but I'm going to show you how to physically put the word list into your presentation. So now we've come to block 4, which is word list reading, and I think that we are going to be using Flipgrid as a way to save you time and not have to manage. And quick clarification, Flipgrid is great, but I did discover yesterday that students can actually submit a video or audio directly into a Schoology assignment without an external tool. So I did make a video about how to do that will be in the presentation this afternoon. Manage multiple kids in multiple locations through word list charting. So if you don't know how to word list chart, I would recommend joining the Content for Dyslexia Teachers class and watching the videos from our 4-hour training on the 13th of August. But all I did was I took some screenshots of the words. And so I am going to practice with this page, and I think this is the right page. I'm going to go check. So I have the student readers in the live binder. I'm going to show you how to get to that. I have the link to the live binder in our Schoology page, and it will take you to this folder. In this folder, I have a lot of things, but the thing you probably want the most is virtual learning support. And so in here, you will find Equipped for Reading Success, Foundations, Just Words, and WRS. And so that's where we're going to start. And everything is divided up in these folders. So here are your student readers, and we're in book 3. So I'm going to just scroll down. Oops, to page 57. Because that's what's on my lesson plan. That's where we are. And to put these in my Google Slides, I'm just going to use what's called, let me show you. There's in every Windows computer, there's something called the snipping tool. And so I've got it pinned to my taskbar, but you can also find it by searching here. And I'm going to click New. And then I just have to select what I want. And then with Google Slides, all that I have to do is copy, go to my PowerPoint. I can delete the old one and click paste. So easy. So that's my practice page. And then whenever students need to chart, this is in the slide presentation, and you can leave it in there, but I think that it would be easier if you've got a group to say, okay, for wordless charting, you need to complete your wordless reading assignment on Schoology. And so you're gonna do the exact same thing that we just did, which I think I've already done it, where you would go to the reader, consist, expel. Nope, it's not the right word. So you're just gonna take a screenshot with snipping tool again and put the correct words in there. And then they can complete that on their own in Flipgrid or Schoology. Okay, please, if you have come into the chat or into the session late or just now getting here because of issues, please make sure that you put your information in the chat about which school you work at and your full name. So this is the last part. It's about 12 minutes, which is about all that we have time for. So I'm going to go ahead and hit play, and then we can always do questions on the discussion page. So for the last part of reading, part 5, sentence reading, I am going to look at my lesson plan, and we are doing page 74. And so you're going to do the exact same thing that we just did. And I've been doing only 5 sentences just because we are short on time. I'm going to go to my student reader, and I'm going to find that page. I really wish this was organized better. I know y'all are aware of the struggles of how all of the words are together. So 79. I'm going to do the first 5 sentences, and I'm going to go ahead and copy the high frequency words that they need to know. So I'm going to use the snipping tool again, new, and I'm going to get these first 5 sentences in there. I'm just going to copy it, go back to my slide, and paste it. And so I know you can see my little pair on the bottom. We are going to talk about Pear Deck in my other session, but when you go to the add-ons and click that you want to make this a drawing slide in Pear Deck, the students will be able to scoop it, circle words, mark words, anything that they could do with their mouse or a stylus, they'll be able to do, and you'll be able to see what they've written on. So I think that it's an excellent tool to make this more interactive. So we're done with the reading. Let's get into the spelling. So for the quick drill in reverse, I think that you can have students, they're just going to say the letter and point. And so I do have in the live binder some pretty pretty specific letter tiles for every sub-step, but I will show you this Jamboard tool. So let me show you how to make sure students make a copy and do not ruin your board. So you're going to click share. And right now it says anyone on the internet with this link can edit. You're going to copy that link. You only have to do this one time and then go back and change it to viewer. So it has to say edit it first. Then you're going to, let me show you. I have a link to the board for students, okay? So I'm going to click link and I'm going to paste that link in there. And you're going to see a slash that will say /edit sharing. You're going to go all the way back to that line and you're going to type the word copy and click apply. Now this link, it's in the PowerPoint slide, and so students won't be able to click it. You're going to need to put it in Schoology to share it with them. But when they click this link, it's going to automatically make them their own copy. Now it's going to do that every single time. So I know that they don't want 1,000 copies. They could save this and pull it up just like you would with your real magnet board. I think that's probably the easiest thing, but this way they don't ruin your master copy. So they're going to click make a copy. And it takes a minute because it's a lot of images. And then when that's finished, it's going to populate this board. And so if the students can share their screen with you, you can even ask them, what did you do? And they could, you could say, qua, and they could say, qua, and they could point to Q, U says, qua. The other option that I have seen that is pretty easy is that some teachers are just printing a copy of the tiles that you don't move, that you just point to, and that way they aren't sliding all over the place, and students can flip it over if it's laminated and use the other side as a whiteboard. So for spelling, you're not going to have a lot on your Google slide because you want the students to spell. And so you do have to teach some concepts at the beginning, like show, and it'll tell you exactly what to do in the manual. So the introduction sub-step is going to have that on there. But for Google Slides, I don't recommend using Pear Deck or any add-on for spelling. I think that you can just do slides. So what I've done is I've made some animated cards if you're using syllable cards. And if not, you can have students write on a whiteboard or use this digital board to build the words. So you're going to need your lesson plan for this part because I've got to say what I want them to spell. So I'm going to say for part 3, when you get to part 3, students aren't using the letter tiles anymore. They're using syllable tiles. So I've got to edit these slides to have the words that I want in them. And then I've typed out my directions here. I have decided not to use Pear Deck anymore on these because when you do Pear Deck, all of the animations come up. So let me show you. This is what you're going to see in present mode. They're blank. And this is how you do these words. So that word was gumdrop. So this is what you do. I say gumdrop. My student says gumdrop. I say section into syllables. So they're going to tap on the table. Gumdrop. Then say the first syllable, gum, and then they spell it G-U-M on the table. Then they're going to flip this card, or you're going to flip it. Then they're going to say the second syllable, drop. They're going to write it on the table, D-R-O-P. And then whenever they flip the card, drop is going to pop up. But if you use Pear Deck, it's just going to say gumdrop on it already. And so I wanted my student to be able to scoop with spelling, but I think it's actually, we are scooping a lot. And so I think that they can just scoop in the air or scoop on the computer screen and not physically write on it, because this makes it a little more interactive to have the cards flip over. With letter tiles, they can build their word and show you, but because they would need so many tiles for these multisyllabic words, we've made these tiles that can be flipped. So all you're going to need to do if you're doing multisyllabic words, our first word on our lesson plan for spelling is tomcat. So I'm going to build tomcat. And you don't have to do anything else. This is already animated for you. So it's already set up now that I change those words to say tomcat when they're flipped over. If you are doing words with prefixes in present, you've got the same situation. This is going to become unfold so they can check their spelling. And this is part 7. So this isn't where they're writing in their dictation pages. This is where they are practicing spelling. So this is how they're writing on the table with their finger, and then they're checking with the cards by flipping. And so that is an easy way to do part 7. Then they're going to enter a high frequency word in their student notebook. I think we did another, so I just have to change this. And then for dictation, you're going to have to use your lesson plan for this. So I have a slide in here that you can show students. And I highly recommend that you just have this up for you so you can kind of see what you need to say. And then you're going to start with everything on your dictation page. So you start with sounds, and the student's going to write them on their dictation page. I have not found a good way to do this digitally. Students need to physically write for it to stick. So I highly recommend that they have their dictation page at home, and they can actually tilt their camera on their Chromebook or laptop and place their student reader so that you can see what they're writing. And I just tell my student, like, move it down a little bit more until I can basically see what they're writing. I know that they could also submit a picture when they're finished, but it's really important to correct them as they are writing so that they can check their work and that it really is correct. I don't think it's going to stick as well if we can't really see what they're doing. So I would recommend asking them to tilt their camera down on the laptop so that it is showing you what they're writing. So I do have some blank slides in here as a scaffold if the student needs a manipulative. They do not have the words on them to double check, but they are there for them to kind of just have that color coding. So for instance, the word commits is a 2-syllable word with a suffix. And so if I had, just 2 blank note cards and a yellow blank note card, I would let them tap those out and kind of see that. But you do not have to use this. They can just tap right on the table. It just kind of gives them a visual cue, but it's not going to give them the correct word spelling of that word. But they should be reading the letters as they write them on their paper. And so hopefully you can catch them, even though I know you might have 6 in a group and it's a lot to listen to. So I think the best thing to do is to just see their screens when they're writing. And finally, you can make an assignment in your class for every time you do the spelling portion of the lesson. And you can ask students to upload a picture of their dictation page. So you can just have them upload their dictation page. On here, you can even make a Google Drive assignment with the blank dictation page that I have here, but I think the easiest thing is probably taking a picture. I'm just really concerned that students don't need to be typing. They need to be actually physically writing. So finally, we are at the last part of our Wilson lesson, the comprehension part. So you're going to do 9 or 10. And then I've just given you some tips for some questions that you might want to ask. And then I always have this little picture of make a movie in your mind. And then I'm just going to type the title of the story and the page number. So this lesson plan is A Picnic with a Chipmunk. And so you're always going to start with read the title, tell me what you think it's going to be about. And then for vocabulary words, I wrote down a few: splendid, windmill, and intent. And then the directions are always turn in your reader to the above page and read the story silently to yourself. Don't forget to make a movie in your mind. And then I like to screenshot the manual and put it in there. This is the wrong story. I would just go in and do exactly what I did before.
Not the manual, the
but
reader.
It does make it a little bit hard to see. And then at the end, I always have my cues. So first I'm going to say, okay, now when you're done, I want you to replay that movie in your mind and give the student a second to think, and then ask the student to retell the story in their own words. And then after that, I've got a couple of questions, and these are on my lesson plan, and I just type those in. And then this student in particular doesn't need comprehension SOS, but you could definitely add a Pear Deck slide in here where they could draw the story so that they could help with comprehension. And then I just have this sweet little good job trophy at the end. And so that is how you take this lesson plan and put it into Google Slides.
Okay, guys. So I am going to upload this video into our group, and I realize we are cutting it super close. An hour is just not a lot of time. So I am going to show you once again how to join that group. And it's a group, not a course. So if you type this into the course, it's not going to let you join. It'll say it's not real. So here are actual instructions for joining the group. I'm sorry we didn't really have time for questions, but one thing I want to show you is that in our group, I have resources. And one of the biggest things is that we have a discussion. And so this is the Wilson Reading System parking lot. So you can post any questions or ideas there. And then here is the Just Words parking lot. And so we will be monitoring that to have one place where everybody can kind of ask questions. And then I'm also slowly but surely uploading all of these resources in here. And so this presentation, this recording will be in this folder. So I've already got the presentation linked, and I've got these are all the presentations, and I'm trying to upload the videos, but it just takes it a long time to upload because they're kind of long. So I will be adding that video to this folder. So please, if you didn't, make sure that you, okay, did you try to add it to a group, Misty, or did you try to add it to a course? Because if you do the course, it'll say it doesn't work. And then I actually typed up how, like, explicit instructions for how to add yourself.
Okay, I tried it on a course, so I just found
Okay.
it. But my other question, is that where the CIS Tier 3 students are, the list for those?
No, I am actually going to show you guys. I'll send you guys the link to that, and I can put the link in here, but you have to be on a Little Rock School District campus and you have to log in. And so sometimes when I put the link, people are like, I can't get it to work.
That's fine, but my counselor needs it so she can do our students.
Yeah, I have been frantically, guys, I sent all of the counselors and the principals, everybody who needed to be in the courses in June. And I've been frantically trying to learn all these PDs and make recordings and set up Schoology and get grant money and things like that to help with the virtual setting that we're in. And when I ran what students were actually in the classes, there was clearly some confusion. And so I worked hard, and Heather worked hard on Friday trying to reconcile those. And I know that they want it right now, but I'm doing as much as I possibly can. I'm sending each school a new spreadsheet that is not so complicated, that just says, these are the kids at your building that have to be in this class, and here is the groups that I'm recommending they be in. I sent them that already, but I have to do it again and add anyone who's moved and take off anyone who's moved. So,
Kendall, how do you join the group?
okay, so here are the instructions right here. So you go to groups in Schoology, and then you click My Groups, and then you're gonna click Join a Group over here. And then you're gonna type in this access code, which is kind of small. And Heather's training is about to start, so I am gonna have to log off here in a minute and get on hers so I can monitor her chat because she's at 9:30. I don't know why we did that so close together, but we did. So thank you guys so much for coming, and I hope that this was helpful.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
You were not supposed to be here. She was finishing up her Zoom while I was letting people in. So that was just a background. I moderate her session and while she's presenting and then she moderates mine. And we should have given us maybe a 10-minute in between time so that we didn't overlap, but we're making the best of everything.
Okay. What? I don't know what that means.
Shandell and I thought we would have like 25 to 35 participants in our classes each day and each of our sessions, and we have 600. So we have been a little shocked at how many participants we have in our 6 classes. And we were only supposed to have 128 in the last session, and there was